Hello, and welcome back to our journey through the Gospel of Matthew. Today, we're diving into chapter 17, a chapter packed with incredible events and profound lessons. So grab your Bible, get comfortable, and let's explore this together. Our story begins with one of the most remarkable moments in Jesus' ministry, the Transfiguration. Just 6 days after predicting his own suffering, Jesus takes his inner circle, Peter, James, and John, up a high mountain. And there, something extraordinary happens. Jesus' appearance is transformed before their very eyes. His face shines like the sun, and his clothes become as white as light. Suddenly, two towering figures from Israel's history, Moses and Elijah, appear and begin talking with him. Moses represents the law, and Elijah represents the prophets. Their presence signifies that Jesus is the fulfillment of everything the Old Testament pointed towards. Overwhelmed by this divine spectacle, Peter, ever the impulsive one, suggests building 3 shelters, one for Jesus, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. It's a very human reaction, trying to capture and hold on to a glorious moment. But before he can even finish speaking, a bright cloud overshadows them, and a voice from the cloud declares, "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him." This is God the Father affirming the identity and authority of Jesus. The disciples are terrified, falling on their faces. But Jesus, in his gentle way, touches them and says, "Rise and have no fear." When they look up, it's just Jesus again. This mountaintop experience was a glimpse of the divine glory of Christ, a confirmation for the disciples to strengthen their faith for the difficult road ahead. As they descend the mountain, Jesus gives them a curious instruction. Don't tell anyone about this vision until after the Son of Man has been raised from the dead. This leads the disciples to ask about the scribes' teaching that Elijah must come first. Jesus confirms this but reveals that Elijah has already come in the person of John the Baptist. Sadly, the people didn't recognize him and mistreated him, foreshadowing how they would also mistreat Jesus. When they rejoin the crowd, the scene shifts dramatically from the glory of the mountain to the brokenness of the valley. A desperate father kneels before Jesus, begging for help for his son who suffers from severe seizures, often falling into fire or water. The father explains that he had brought his son to Jesus' disciples, but they were unable to heal him. Jesus responds with a sense of sorrow, "O faithless and twisted generation, how long am I to be with you? How long am I to bear with you?" He then calls for the boy, rebukes the demon, and the boy is healed instantly. Later, the disciples ask Jesus privately why they couldn't cast out the demon. Jesus' answer is direct and challenging. "Because of your little faith." He then gives them a powerful illustration. He says if they had faith even as small as a mustard seed, they could command a mountain to move, and it would. Nothing would be impossible for them. This isn't about literal mountain moving, but about the incredible power that is unlocked through even a tiny amount of genuine, active faith in God's power, not our own. As they travel through Galilee, Jesus once again prepares his disciples for the inevitable. He tells them plainly, "The Son of Man is about to be delivered into the hands of men, and they will kill him, and he will be raised on the 3rd day." Hearing this, the disciples are filled with immense sorrow. They are still struggling to reconcile the idea of a suffering Messiah with the glorious King they just witnessed on the mountain. Finally, the chapter ends with a unique and fascinating incident in Capernaum. The collectors of the temple tax approach Peter and ask if his teacher pays the tax. Peter quickly says, "Yes." But when he gets inside, Jesus already knows what happened and initiates a conversation. He asks Peter, "From whom do kings of the earth take toll or tax? From their sons or from others?" Peter correctly answers, "From others." Jesus then points out that as the Son of God, he is technically exempt from the tax for God's temple. However, to avoid causing offense, he tells Peter to go fishing. The first fish he catches will have a coin in its mouth, enough to pay the tax for both of them. This miraculous provision not only meets the need, but also subtly demonstrates Jesus' lordship over creation, even a fish in the sea. It's a beautiful lesson in wisdom, humility, and God's surprising provision. And that's Matthew chapter 17. From the divine glory on the mountain to the desperate need in the valley, from the power of faith to a lesson in humility, this chapter challenges us to see Jesus more clearly and to trust Him more deeply. Thank you so much for joining me today. If this has been meaningful for you, please give it a like, share it with a friend, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our next chapter. Until next time, may your faith, even if it's the size of a mustard seed, move mountains in your life.